Tonight, Israel vows a war to the bitter end in Gaza. But Hamas continues to fire back, and many fear an Israeli ground invasion may be next. I'm Maggie Rodriguez. Also tonight, winter's 1-2 punch. In Washington state, a season's worth of snow in just a few weeks, while in the Midwest, high winds are keeping thousands in the dark. Sluggish economy? Not for him. Business is booming for anyone who fixes things. And the Obama factor. A favorite son is about to become president, and Hawaii's cashing in.
This is the CBS Evening News with Katie Couric.
Good evening. Katie is off tonight. Israel has promised an all-out war against Hamas forces. Since Saturday, it's fired hundreds of rockets and bombs into Gaza, wiping out Hamas buildings and the tunnels used for smuggling weapons. More than 360 Palestinians have been killed and 1,400 wounded. Today, Israeli troops began clearing ground near the Gaza border, a possible prelude to a ground invasion. The White House accuses Hamas of provoking Israel by repeatedly firing its own rockets into Israeli territory. Mark Phillips went to the front lines along the Gaza-Israel border.
The Israelis own the skies over Gaza. Apache attack helicopters move in, take their time, and fire their rockets. For the third day, the Israeli barrage of rocket, bomb, and artillery fire has continued. The targets have changed from largely Hamas military personnel and facilities to the tunnels through which the Israelis suspect weapons-making material is smuggled, to the weapons themselves, and to government compounds, the symbols of the militant group Hamas's control over Gaza. While the Palestinians put their death toll at well above 300, a UN relief agency says more than 50 of the victims were civilians, some of them children. Yet the Israeli action has not had the desired effect of stopping Hamas rocket fire into Israel. More than 40 rockets and mortars were fired from Gaza, killing at least 3 more Israelis. And a defiant Israeli defense minister told parliament here that the fight would continue to what he called the bitter end.
We tried everything in order to avoid this military operation. We had no other alternative, and Hamas needs to understand that the equation is going to be changed.
But will it take a ground invasion to change it? Israeli army mechanized units were forming up in the area around Gaza today. The soldiers said they'd received no orders to advance so far. That this campaign is having a devastating effect within Gaza is obvious, but its ultimate objectives are still unclear. Hamas is damaged, but how badly and for how long? And how many new recruits, how many new militants, and how much more hatred is being created by an assault on this scale?
Don't go near windows or anything.
Maha El-Bana, an English teacher in Gaza, talks to her children who have been taken to a safer place. If the Israelis hope Hamas power will be undermined by the devastation being brought down on Gaza, she has her doubts.
Right now, what I see is that people are too occupied with what's going on, and they're not going to sit down and blame Hamas for this. They're blaming the original source, which is Israel, and the attacks it's carrying.
Well, there is still a huge imbalance between the numbers being killed in Gaza and those being killed here in Israel. The persistence, the deadliness, and most of all the range of the Hamas rockets coming out of Gaza is increasing. Hamas doesn't have to defeat the Israelis to win in this conflict. It merely has to survive. And thus far, Israeli air power alone has not put it out of business. Maggie?
Mark, if the Israeli air power has not been enough for Israel to accomplish its mission, it begs the question of whether Israel needs to launch a ground invasion. When I spoke this morning with Foreign Minister Livni on the early show, she didn't rule it out.
No, they won't rule it out. And as I mentioned in the story, the buildup increases along the Israeli-Gaza frontier. But there's a huge danger if the Israelis decide to use what they call this tool in their bag and go in either in an invasion or in incursions. And that danger is casualties, especially in the dense urban environment within Gaza. If the Israelis start taking casualties, then this whole operation starts to look sour in much the same way as the invasion of Lebanon 2 summers ago. Maggie?
reminiscent of 2006. Thank you, Mark. In many ways, the conflict between these bitter enemies was inevitable ever since Hamas took control of Gaza from more moderate Palestinian forces 18 months ago. More now from Sheila McVicker.
Tens of thousands in the Muslim world protested Israel's continuing bombardment, chanting, "Down with Israel." In Cairo, where the Egyptian government had been key in brokering the now-collapsed ceasefire, people called for an end to cooperation with Israel. If history has shown us anything, getting any cooperation over Gaza has been nearly impossible. 30 miles long, at most 10 miles wide, twice the size of Washington, D.C., Gaza is one of the world's most densely populated places. Ruled by Egypt until captured in the 1967 war, Gaza was occupied by Israeli soldiers until 3 years ago. When Israel unilaterally withdrew, it left behind a vacuum filled by Hamas, the Islamist group which does not recognize Israel's right to exist. It is now the elected leadership of Gaza.
The Israelis, as far as they're concerned, what they face with Palestinian resistance, and in particular Hamas, is in their book no different from what the United States faces from al-Qaeda.
Since 2005, Hamas militants and their allies have launched more than 6,000 rockets at Israeli targets. 10 people have been killed, as candidate Barack Obama discovered when he toured the frequently hit Israeli town of Sderot last summer. However crudely ineffective the attacks, people did live in fear.
If somebody was sending rockets into my house where my 2 daughters sleep at night, I'm going to do everything in my power to stop that.
But the violence was not one-sided. Israel carried out targeted killings, and more importantly for the people of Gaza, imposed and tightened an economic blockade that cut off supplies of food, medicine, and even electricity. The theory was that would encourage Palestinians to reject Hamas. That didn't work. Unwilling to talk to Hamas, with Israeli elections coming soon, with no serious prospects for peace, Israel did what it has done before and vows to continue. Sheila McVicker, CBS News, London.
Home today, a new warning in eastern Tennessee. Don't drink the water. It may have been contaminated by that massive spill of coal ash. It was 1 week ago today that a retention wall broke outside a coal-burning power plant, sending dangerous sludge oozing through Harriman. Mark Strassman has the latest.
Wherever the sludge spreads, the disaster deepens. Crystal Flynn lost her home and worries about saving her health.
It's devastating. It's unbelievable. You can't imagine.
More than 1 billion gallons of toxic sludge leaked last Monday when a retention pond crumbled outside this coal-burning power plant. The spill was 3 times greater than what the Tennessee Valley Authority, or TVA, first reported. Anxious residents gave an earful to Tom Kilgore, the utility's chief executive.
The sheer amount of bulk material that's in that river should be considered a crime.
Kilgore took responsibility.
This is not a time when TVA holds its head high.
But had few answers.
When's it going to be cleaned up? I can't tell you.
Downstream from the spill is the Tennessee River, the main source of drinking water for millions. Local officials now warn residents not to drink from private wells or springs. And a new EPA test indicated concentrations of arsenic that are very high. But environmentalists and some residents here also fault the EPA. Almost half of America's electricity is coal-generated.
It's the fuel that powers our way of life.
The industry touts its cleaner product. But critics say Tennessee's spill was a predictable disaster.
The environmental cop has been off the beat for a long time now.
In Tennessee, an exhausting recovery has barely begun.
I feel like I've been dealing with this for a year, and it hasn't even been a week yet.
TVA will spend months cleaning up its own mess as residents wonder and worry what's really in the water. Mark Strassman, CBS News, Atlanta.
Meanwhile, severe winter weather is causing big problems in parts of the country. In the Midwest, thousands of people are still without power tonight after a weekend storm blew down power lines. And the Northwest can't catch a break. It's already buried under a whole winter's worth of snow. Cynthia Bowers has more.
Barely 1 week in, winter is already wearing out its welcome, especially in the Pacific Northwest, getting battered again today with heavy snow, rain, and high winds. In Spokane, a record 51.5 inches of snow have fallen so far this month. And in parts of Iowa and Illinois, families shoveling snow on Christmas Eve were sandbagging over the weekend to hold back rivers swollen by heavy rains and melting ice.
The ice broke loose and everybody was all happy and stuff. And then within 2 hours, it jammed up, and now you got this.
In Michigan, that same unseasonable warmth triggered hurricane-force winds, gusts of 70 miles an hour, strong enough to take down buildings.
When you get a wind that came up last night as strong as it did out of the south, the thing acts like a parachute, and it just sucks it all in.
The storm cut electricity to nearly 500,000 people. Today, more than 100,000 remain powerless, which must have been how the grounds crew and place kickers felt in Buffalo at yesterday's Bills-Patriots football game.
Kick is on its way. Look at that wind.
And though many of us may get a break from all the wind and weather, it probably won't be much of one, given the way this winter's been going. Cynthia Bowers, CBS News, Chicago.
The political storm surrounding Illinois Governor Rod Blagojevich intensified today. Prosecutors agreed to provide an impeachment panel with wiretapped conversations in which he allegedly tried to sell Barack Obama's Senate seat. Blagojevich's lawyer admitted today those wiretaps caught the governor making, quote, unfortunate remarks, but he told the House committee the governor did nothing that justifies impeachment. In other news, the Border Patrol today reported a dramatic decrease in the number of people caught trying to cross the border from Mexico illegally. Back in 2000, 1.6 million arrests were made. This year, the number was down to 705,000. That's the lowest level since the 70s. The government is crediting tougher immigration enforcement, but others say it's the economy. Bill Whitaker reports.
The Border Patrol says it's now catching about 2,000 illegal border crossers every day, down from more than 4,000 a day 8 years ago. The U.S. government says that's a barometer. Fewer people are trying to sneak across the border.
We've seen a collapse in the number of people who come across the border illegally.
Why? A number of reasons, according to the Border Patrol. The border fence, about 550 miles have now been completed. More Border Patrol agents, 6,000 new agents have been assigned to the border since 2006. And tougher workplace enforcement. In 2002, just 485 undocumented workers were arrested on the job. This year, federal agents nabbed 5,184 immigrants working in the U.S. illegally.
We've actually seen record low levels that we haven't realized for over 30 years, and we think that's been achieved through the increase in Border Patrol agents, as well as the technology we've deployed along the southwest border with Mexico.
Immigration researchers say beefed up security is a factor, but the number one reason fewer immigrants are sneaking across the border? The sharply weaker U.S. economy. It's no longer worth the $3,000 and more they pay to get smuggled into the country.
Most of those people coming over the border illegally would be looking for jobs, and there aren't any. Home construction was a huge magnet for several years, and that's completely dried up.
Many border analysts predict the numbers will follow past trends. When the economy improves, expect the number of illegal crossers to rise again. Bill Whitaker, CBS News, Los Angeles.
Still ahead on the CBS Evening News, jumping on the Barack Obama bandwagon. Hawaii's native sun sparks a homegrown industry. But up next, many companies are going bankrupt, but not these guys. We'll tell you why. It's another sign of the nation's weakening economy. Business bankruptcies are on the rise. Nearly 58,000 companies filed for bankruptcy through November of this year, an average of 252 every day. That's up 48% from last year. Many businesses are suffering because consumers just aren't buying new products. But that's translating into a nice bonus for some, as our throwaway economy gives way to the fix-it economy. Hari Srinivasan explains.
There is plenty around the country that needs fixing.
My daughter's out of work. My son is looking for work. My sister, who's right here, is out of work, and her boyfriend is out of work soon.
In West Palm Beach, instead of waiting for the other shoe to drop, they're dropping off their shoes for repair.
A lot of them said they never bothered fixing their shoes, they would throw them out. But now with things the way they are, with the economy, they're tight for money. and repairing everything they have, and cleaning out their closets and bringing them in by the basketful.
Daniel Catalfumo has been a cobbler for more than 70 years.
They still have a glitter.
At his shop, when times get tough, business steps right up.
Thank you.
Last November, the store brought in $16,000. This November, the store brought in $22,000, up 37%.
The motor jobs and transmission jobs have doubled.
Scott Aarons of North Dallas Auto has been working on and under cars for nearly 20 years, and big repairs like transmissions and engine overhauls are up. In 2007, he did 13. In 2008, he's already done 22.
18 months ago, a new engine, forget it. We'll just go drag it over and trade it in on something. For now, a new engine, you'll go another 100,000 miles before it needs anything.
People are also trying to get more miles out of their clothes.
This is an Armani suit jacket, sport coat, and he got caught coming up out of a chair.
Without a Trace Reweavers in Chicago has repair orders in from all over the country. Last year by this time, they had mended 5,900 pieces of clothing. This year, they've stitched more than 7,400, up 25%.
This is the time where people are wanting to save their clothes, and they're not going out and buying new ones.
And it seems even the president-elect could use a repair or two. Welcome news for those in the fix-it business. Hari Srinivasan, CBS News, Dallas.
When we come back, a heartwarming love story that Oprah and the publishing world believed. Now it's the latest literary hoax. It was the kind of story that had bestseller written all over it. How a Holocaust survivor met his future wife at a concentration camp. Unfortunately, it was too good to be true. Kelly Kobiella reports.
It all started with a Valentine's Day contest in a newspaper. Herman Rosenblatt thought he had the perfect love story, a tale about being a prisoner in Nazi Germany and a little girl saving him from starvation.
She took out an apple out of her jacket, she threw it over the fence. I grabbed the apple and I ran.
Remarkably, Rosenblatt claimed he met the girl who threw the apple years later on a blind date in New York, a woman who would become his wife. Rosenblatt won that contest and a lot more. 2 appearances on The Oprah Winfrey Show, a book and movie deal, and attention galore. Privately, fellow Holocaust survivors doubted his story.
I wasn't 100% sure, but I pretty well knew it was a made-up story.
A series of articles in the New Republic poked holes in his version of history. The fence was too high and prisoners too heavily guarded. Rosenblatt finally admitted there was no girl by the fence. His publisher, Berkeley Books, canceled his memoir. It's another black eye for the publishing industry, embarrassed by James Fry's fabricated memoir about alcohol addiction in 2006, and again this year by Margaret Seltzer's fake tale of growing up in South Central Los Angeles running drugs for gangs.
I'm saddened. I'm profoundly saddened by this. He's done damage to other people.
Herman Rosenblatt did survive a concentration camp. In a statement, he said he invented the rest to spread a message of hope and happiness. He won't see that message in print, but film producers are moving forward with a $25 million movie. Kelly Kobiella, CBS News, Miami.
A legal setback today for thousands of hurricane victims who claim they were exposed to toxic fumes while living in government-issued trailers. A federal judge in New Orleans ruled they cannot file a class action lawsuit. Each suit will have to proceed on its own. Government testing found elevated levels of cancer-causing formaldehyde in many of those trailers. Up next, from tours to T-shirts, Hawaii catches the Obama wave. Finally tonight, Hawaii is enjoying its moment in the sun as the birthplace of our next president. And as Ben Tracy reports, not surprisingly, some are cashing in on Obama mania.
On his family vacation in Hawaii, just the sight of the president-elect trying to eat his tuna sandwich becomes a spectacle. Those who can't capture a glimpse of the future president,
aloha, welcome to the first and original Obama tour,
can now revisit his past.
Yes, we're going by the hospital where he was born.
Narrated tours of Obama's childhood, costing more than $40, are now big business in Honolulu. They stop at the apartment building he grew up in, a favorite lunch hangout, and the local ice cream store.
This was where, of course, Obama had his first job.
Meanwhile, in the Waikiki Beach tourist shops,
Okay, so that's going to be $52.36.
vendors are riding the Obama wave.
We started off with one design and it just was such a hit, we decided to create another design.
It's all part of the growing Obama brand.
I'm telling you, this is really good.
Soon to be president, but already global celebrity. His family's faces sell millions of magazines, and the attention is boosting his hometown of Honolulu by body surfing at his favorite beach. After going out for shave ice, Obama is now the island's best ambassador.
Since he is a local boy, he understands the islands, and he gets out and does things that locals do.
Honolulu already has a thriving tourist industry, but the hope is that Obama will help people see the real Hawaii. Unfortunately for folks here on Waikiki Beach, they've seen a lot more of reporters than they would like. Ben Tracy, CBS News, Honolulu, Hawaii.
Did you see that? It's like 4 degrees where I am. Thank you, Ben. That does it for the CBS Evening News. For Katie Couric, I'm Maggie Rodriguez. Thank you for watching. I'll see you again tomorrow on The Early Show. Good night.